Do you remember Microsoft 3D Movie Maker? A free demo of it came with Windows 95. If you really liked it, you could buy the full version on CD-ROM. Basically, you could make your own 3D movies using preset actors, props, and scenes. You could even add your own dialogue and sound effects using the computer's mic. It was such a hit that it developed its own cult fanbase. A little known fact is that if you go to the intro page of the talent book and type in Socrates, you'll find a live-action featurette on the making of 3D Movie Maker, originally known as Project Socrates to the developers. It's a pretty fun watch, and I highly recommend it. What I do not recommend, however, is Project Caligula. I am very begrudgingly going to explain the process by which you can access Project Caligula. To start, you must make a movie, choosing Misty City as the scene and the small cafe as the camera angle. As a prop, select the sphere, color it red, flatten it all the way, and put it under the leftmost table. As actors, select Skelly and Augustine. Change Augustine's outfit to the tuxedo and put him in front of the cafe door between the tables. Place Skelly horizontally at his feet. You can do this using the adjustment tools in the part of the toolbar that is initially covered up. Next, change the music to Geist Evil Theme. Select the sound effect Laugh Maniac and place it on Augustine. Finally, make his action at rest and have him stay like that for exactly 17 frames. Conclude by clicking New Movie. A prompt will ask you if you want to save your movie. Do so, and save it as Caligula, all lowercase, no quote. When the screen comes up, go to Open Movie and select Caligula. Unlike other movies whose preview pics are the first frame of the film, the screenshot will be a 3D graphic of the phrase, "Welcome to Hell," in the font Bloody, which is not available in the original edition of the game, in front of a black background. When you open the movie, instead of the preview pic, you will see a solid red background. Again, this is the first of many things you'll see that are not presets of the game. Clicking play will play 21 frames of the screen with an off-key version of Lacrimosa by Mozart playing on piano in the background. The screen will then spiral wipe to the actor Bongo in front of the black background for 13 frames. Then, his skin appears to melt off, quite graphically, followed by subsequent layers of muscle, tissue, and even organs, until it reaches the skeleton. This skeleton, unlike the default Skelly, looks eerily, well, like it belongs to Bongo. The shape, lines, and even proportions are fitted to Bongo's unique build. The music gradually fades, replaced with a crescendo of tortured screams. The skeleton then opens its mouth and says one of the preset lines, "Those bullies won't bother me now." While this is a line attributed to Bongo, the line is distorted to sound deep and very demonic. The final thing you see is a text in front of one of the basic backgrounds from the Nickelodeon edition of 3D Movie Maker. The front is hard to read, not only because the color almost completely blends in with the background, but also because it's in a strange font. When translated, it reads, "Let all those who see this film beware, for whomsoever seeks to make it their own shall suffer a fate worse than death." I had heard about a member of the 3D Movie Maker community who did try to modify the movie, so I found out where he lived to ask him about it. When I got there, the lawn looked like it hadn't been mowed for days, and there was several days' worth of mail and papers present. I knocked on the door, but no one answered. I looked in a nearby window and saw that most of the house was covered in blood, urine, feces, and various entrails. I opened the door only to have the severed torso of the person I was seeking fall towards me. His skin was gone, as were his legs and hips. He was covered in blood, and I thought he was dead, until he grabbed my ankle and gasped, Why won't he let me die?" "Who?" I asked. "Edgar." I called 911 immediately. The doctors made a startling discovery when they examined him. A piece of his brain was missing. According to some psychologists, this part of the brain alerts the body when it dies. As to the identity of Edgar, according to my research, he was apparently a programmer for Microsoft working on Project Socrates. He was fired for making horrifically graphic movies and later committed suicide. His suicide note read, "You'll regret this." As for the process of Project Caligula, I managed to also find it in my research. Apparently, files on certain Microsoft computers would be labeled as, quote, "access." These are the steps to, well, access the movie. News reports I found report a spike in disappearances, the exact time of the release of the full version of Microsoft 3D Movie Maker. The computers for all of these victims were all found to have the access file on them and listed as read. As I finished up my research, I received an email with the sender listed as Edgar. A file attached. Access